Coming up this week on Montclair News Lab. We get up close and personal with NBC News Chief White House correspondent Hallie Jackson.
We have a pretty intense sort of schedule just because there is always developments. Even as we speak, things are happening now at the White House.
We'll meet a student from Ecuador whose love of soccer opened the door to American culture.
It actually helped me a lot because it gave me that kind of safe space to go do something that I love.
And later, he went from being a young man in trouble to helping prevent others from following in his footsteps.
Growing up, I didn't have anybody to steer me right. I had to go out and get it on my own.
From the School of Communication and Media at Montclair State University, this is Montclair News Lab.
Hello and welcome to Montclair News Lab. I'm Carly Henriquez.
And I'm Grace Rowland. Each week, we scour campus, Montclair, and New Jersey to give you news and stories we'll be talking about all week. At the top of our show, an insider's look into what it's like covering Donald Trump and our current White House. Recently, NBC News' chief White House correspondent and MSNBC anchor Hallie Jackson visited Montclair State to receive the School of Communication and Media's annual Dumont Award for Broadcaster of the Year. Right before the event, I sat down with Jackson and asked her about the unique challenges in covering our current president.
It is a roller coaster ride, and it never stops, basically. I cover it with an incredible team of journalists over at NBC News, and we have a pretty intense sort of schedule just because there is always developments. Even as we speak, things are happening now at the White House, and you're sort of always engaged, you're always working your sources, you're always talking to folks. And especially right now, we're in the middle of a real moment in history, only the fourth ever sort of impeachment of a president. And so every day is game day. You show up, you have a lot of work to do. You got to sort of do your job and do it well.
So with the 2020 election coming up, what do you think is going to be different from covering 2020 than it was in 2016?
I'll be attached to one candidate, which hasn't happened for me the last cycle. I started off covering basically every Republican other than Donald Trump. Remember, we had something like 17 of them running in 2015 and 2016. And so for NBC News, I was sort of assigned to whoever was sort of polling well at the time. I was dipping in and out to various campaigns before Donald Trump took the nomination, and then I was on him with the rest of our NBC team full time. In this instance, the President Trump, based on our reporting, will be on the road so much in 2020. So I think being attached to just him and just that campaign will be an interesting development. I also now have an MSNBC show full time, which I didn't have for much of the 2016 campaign until the very end. So I've had about 2 months worth of experience juggling a campaign and the show. Now it's going to be, I'm going to go into a full year of having to do that. Yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah, so what are some challenges that you face covering someone as controversial as President Donald Trump?
Listen, as a journalist, you just do your job, right? The guiding light for me are two things. Tom Brokaw said this to me when I first started in this position. He said a principle for them that they followed during the Watergate scandal, the whole thing, was follow the facts. You have to find out what the facts are. You have to talk to a lot of people. You have to triangulate your sources. You have to figure out what it is that you know. And can say the phrase, NBC News has learned, based on my reporting. That's what you're going for every single day. That's what you wake up and want to do. And the other piece of it is making sure that you're holding people in power to account. None of that changes, no matter who you're talking to or who you are covering. We also have the fun challenge, I think, of I have a cable show, which is great because I have segments I can talk about different topics, talk about different subjects. And then on, for example, nightly news, you have 90 seconds to make sense of this crazy, complicated story that is impeachment, or that is the trade war, or that is an e-cigarette vaping ban, whatever the case may be. And you're working to craft that. You mentioned you really like writing, Grace. I love writing, and that is another sort of storytelling craft that you get to work your muscle on.
Yeah, so what do you have a specific key moment that you remember that really got you passionate into politics and reporting?
That's a great question. I've always sort of gravitated or been drawn towards political journalism ever since I was in college. I was a political science major at a school in Baltimore. Before I even wanted to get into communications or journalism, I thought I was going to be a print reporter actually for a little while. I remember telling one of my professors I want to write for the New York Times. And then I got bitten by the broadcast bug. I love the immediacy of putting sort of images with words and the power that can have, and the power it can have to show somebody saying something directly, right? Whether it's sort of a regular person that you're out interviewing for local news, whether it's the President of the United States, I think there's some real value in that. And I think that in this moment in time, there's nothing else I'd rather be doing than covering politics. It is quite literally the front row to history. Just yesterday, I guess it was, I was standing on the South Lawn. The president came out on this very critical day of this impeachment hearing. And I'm taking pictures with my iPhone, of his notebook with his own handwriting on that and that Sharpie. And moments like that are when you go, man, take a step back. You're in it, and it means you have to be on your game every minute. We have a list, I was armed yesterday with a list of questions to ask the president if you were to answer them. He chose not to. I wish he had done differently, but I always feel that way when he doesn't answer our questions.
Do you have any advice for any aspiring young journalists who are trying to start out?
Yeah, and it's advice that Cokie Roberts gave me when I was just a college kid myself. I cornered her at this conference that I was at a national conference, and asked her for some advice. I didn't know her, I'd never met her, it was the only interaction we ever had. And she said to me, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter what you major in, it doesn't matter any of that. You just have to be curious. Stay curious and stay hungry and ask the questions. And to me, that's what it all comes down to. How do you ask the questions? What's a way that you're going to draw information out that is going to be illuminating to your viewers or to your readers? And that is something that has really stuck with me.
After the event, we spoke to Montclair State students. Here's what they said about her coming to our campus.
The colloquium was awesome. I think it's so cool that our school created so many good connections with professionals to come here and give us the opportunity to learn about their experience. As an aspiring student in the television and digital media industry, I think hearing a testimony from someone as experienced as Hallie Jackson really helped me to understand how the process of becoming a journalist works, and it really helped me to just get a better understanding of the industry.
I thought it was amazing. I think anytime a professional wants to, they come here and they really just give their insight, it's so inspirational and really helps everyone kind of figure out what they want to do. That even if you're not really into anything news related, TV or media related, having them give their experience is so inspiring. And it's one of the reasons how I was able to become what I wanted to do and just begin in that was when professionals came in these colloquiums and just gave their insight and their stories and just showed their accomplishments to us. It makes us think we can do the same thing and we can do the same exact thing. And it's just a blessing to have.
So Grace, tell us the tea. What happened behind the scenes?
So she was actually so engaged in talking to students and staff and looking at our news lab that she almost missed her flight.
Oh my God, that's honestly dedication.
Yes.
Now, a look at sports. Christine Mayorga is a Montclair State soccer player who was born in Ecuador. Although she came to this country at a young age, she says playing the sport has helped her transition into American culture. Red Hot Spotlight reporter Katie Weirdo has our story.
So you are originally from Ecuador, right? And can you tell me a little bit about how your family came to the United States of America?
So my dad's American, he's from here, and my mom's Ecuadorian. My dad went on vacation to Ecuador, and that's how he and my mom met. They had me. I was born in the capital of Ecuador, and then my dad and my mom came back here to settle down, find jobs, find a house, and a year later, when I was about 3 years old, they went back, they brought me, and I've been here ever since. The one question I always get, and I always got growing up, was how do you manage the language at home? Because my mom, she speaks both Spanish and English, but only English when she needs to. So at home, I would always go home, speak Spanish, and at school, I'd always go to school and speak English. And before every summer ended, my teachers would say, don't speak Spanish at home, you're gonna forget your English. But that was never the case, because all of my friends, everybody I spoke to was in English, and the only person was my mom at home in Spanish.
Do you think soccer helped you transition into American culture and all that?
Yeah, I get this question often, and it actually helped me a lot because it gave me that kind of safe space to go do something that I love and with people who share the same passions. So you automatically off the bat have things that you have in common, things to talk about, things that you're not obligated to do but that you want to do. So to have that common ground with all these people that I used to play with and still do now, it made that transition into changing of the culture, changing of the atmosphere that much easier. And the picking up how lifestyle was here and still is, that has always been a safe environment for me to transition into.
To keep up with Red Hot Spotlight, visit their YouTube channel, Red Hot Spotlight. New episodes are released every Thursday.
Now for a look at upcoming campus events. The New Jersey Dance Theater Ensemble will hold 3 performances of the Nutcracker at Memorial Auditorium on the Montclair State campus. It features 55 dancers ages 7 to 18 from across New Jersey and renowned professional guest artists. The performances will be held on December 14th at 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. and December 15th at 2 p.m.
Montclair State University is offering a series of free public activities that explore New Jersey's role in space exploration. In honor of the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11, the event takes place Thursday, December 12th at 7 p.m. at Buzz Aldrin Middle School in Montclair.
On December 11th, the Newark Board of Education will be hosting a Get Hired Today and interview event, which allows graduating education and non-education majors to find job opportunities. The information session will be held at University Hall Suite 3054 from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Nige Coram knows what it's like to grow up in inner cities like Newark. His struggles in the streets while growing up inspired him to want to create a better future for the kids in his city. So he decided to create an after-school program. Our reporter, Rebecca Eugene, has our story.
In inner cities like Newark, people are surrounded by issues that affect their lives, such as crime, violence, and poverty. Nige Coram knew he was heading down the wrong path, like many in his neighborhood.
Growing up, I didn't have anybody to steer me right. I had to go out and get it on my own. I had to figure everything out on my own, which ultimately caused me to go to the street.
His life in a downward spiral, and the streets couldn't save him from heartbreak. His girlfriend dying while getting an abortion, something that changed his course in life.
The turning point for me was about to have a child. I actually lost the child and her mother. It ultimately wanted me to help work with kids.
In that moment of loss, he found his mission.
I want to be a servant to my community. Like a Nipsey Hussle, the kids who are in my possession and who come to me every day, I want to show them right from wrong, right? I want to show them that even though your environment tells you that you got to be a gangster or you got to be a street guy or you going to fail, you don't have to live up to that.
Coram decided to create a sanctuary for youth in Newark.
The Bold After School program came about because I met my partner, Shaquana Floyd, who does a lot of double Dutch work. And we came together because she had girls and I had a mentoring program called Young Black and Gifted.
Be Bold offers students a variety of extracurricular activities and a place to go to after school.
It's a couple programs we have here, such as karate, dance. They have a cheerleading program here, double Dutch, a mentoring program, music.
We're here from 3 until 7 at night, which means that the kids are no longer on the street, but they're inside of a safe haven.
Many who live in Newark feel the media portrays the city in a negative light.
Defeating the odds, right? I feel like when you were born a young black male, you already labeled a statistic, right? You labeled to either go to jail, be in prison, or be in a gang, or be shot up somewhere, right?
Through his work with Be Bold, Coram is trying to change that narrative.
I think of him as a leader. He definitely has drive, and he pushes the kids as if he's pushing someone that's blood related to him.
Versace shirt, she said that if you want to have a Versace party, your grades got to look like Versace. You know what I mean? You got to be up to par. So we're going to have that conversation later, all right?
Things that G have taught me, one big thing is confidence, and two, being able to communicate with people in different settings, like one, if you're talking to your friend, or if you're in a business meeting.
As Frederick Douglass once said, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And with that, Coram has a message.
I love you. Even if I never met you before and I'm never going to meet you, just know I love you if anybody tells you. And if you are going through stuff, go talk to somebody.
One man adopting a city, changing the narrative, and being the hero to many young men and women. From Montclair News Lab, this is Rebecca Eugene.
It's honestly so inspiring to see people like that make such a great difference in their communities. Are you ready for the photo of the week? Each week, Professor Thomas Franklin sent us a photo of the week from his photojournalism class. This week's photo was taken by Octavio Cadenas.
Oh, she does not look too happy to be commuting right now.
Honestly, that's me in the weekend. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Montclair News Lab. Tweet us at MSU News Lab.
Also, visit our website, montclairnewslab.tv, for more.
Thank you for joining us today. From Montclair News Lab, I'm Carly Henriquez.
And I'm Grace Rowland. See you next time.